Now, I always like to talk about the fact that Infinity, isn't as good as most people say it is. Da 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 da. I always like talking, to just saying that he just is kind of overrated. And look, it's like, even though he is overrated, I will give him his props where, like, credit is due. He did beat Jester, he did beat a lot of people. And the most important thing that he's done so far is he's actually made his own specific archetype of debater. So there are these specific type of debaters who try to mimic, the way he debates, try and mimic his debate style, and then they completely fail at it completely. Now, look, some of them I'm not going to say I'm close to them because I'm not really close to any of them, but I at least am on speaking terms with some of them. So the biggest examples of this would be Official and Smoothie. Now, look, they've taken two different aspects of the Infinity archetype. So where Official inherited Infinity's ego, inherited Infinity's jargon, Infinity's just ability to just spit nonsense, right? And then you have Smoothie. Now, Smoothie, on the other hand, he's taken around. I've seen him actually try to get better. I've seen Smoothie actually, try and improve himself, try and make himself smarter. Supposedly he's been reading. But look, Smoothie he isn't getting better. Like, at least this is on the rhetoric aspect. So whenever he tries to speak, he has this sort of issue where he's speaking really quickly, and everyone who's in chat, who's listening to the debate, is like, hey, calm down, Rap God. And it's like, look, Rap God, you actually do need to calm down. Why am I hearing you speak 6 billion sentences in a single second and then accuse your opponent of not tracking? It's like, yeah, nobody would be able to track if you spoke at the pace you did. Even Destiny doesn't speak that quickly. So the Infinity archetype basically is just speaking really quickly, having lackluster arguments, not really reading a lot about the topics you're talking about, and just pretending to know stuff what you obviously don't know about. But it's fine. Today I'll be helping everyone again because I've seen like 3, 4, 5 people ask me, Shinra, please, aside from your tutorials, how do I improve? And it's like, okay, I will help you, right? I just won't specifically amp you now. The main thing is just that amping culture in the debate community is completely horrid. So, for example, every single time somebody goes into an amping server, whether or not it's a syndicate, whether or not it's an actual just amping server where you want to make people better, usually these people aren't going to get better. See, typically in all of these amping servers, there's going to be specific hierarchies. There's going to be specific people who are considered, even though they are right below the teachers, they're considered to be some of the best. Now, I'm going to use a private server that I'm part of as an example, right? So you have people like Spaz Karges being one of the mid tiers in there, and Jester being one of the high tiers in the private server. And then usually all of the debates typically is just debates between the lower level debaters, right? Look at Mono, look at Senju, all of these like low level debaters, they just continuously debate each other, and it doesn't seem like they're improving, right? And the reason why these guys aren't improving is because of a few reasons, and I'll go over them one by one. But look, the reason why you shouldn't, like, already asking anybody even to amp you is already showing that your potential is basically limited to what the other person can teach you, and limiting your potential to and limiting it and basing it off of what somebody else tells you is the best way to cap your potential, is the best way to never get past tier 4, right? So tier 4 like the Surugis, right? This is the best way to just never escape those type of rankings. So look, it's very simple. If you want to get better, the first thing you need to do is you need to have is drive. You need to have at least some motivation for debating. You need to at least enjoy it, right? That's the first thing and the most important thing you need if you want to get better, right? So I've seen people DM me saying though they want to start taking debating seriously. Now it's like, look, you don't need to take debating too seriously, just serious enough where you don't enjoy people coming on the app and looking at you speak and hearing you speak and then immediately concluding that you're an idiot who doesn't know what you're talking about, right? So the first thing you need to do, again, and this is a step-by-step guide, this is a loose guide because I'm not going to start giving people surefire methods into getting into tier 2 or tier 1, because look, not only am I not tier 1 anyway, right, but the second thing is, if you notice, most of these high-level debaters that people look up to, look at Destiny, look at, like, I've heard Andrew Wilson is pretty good, look at Sintha, look at Divinity. You notice that none of these guys actually had anyone to teach them, right? People who, like, look at Gizbob too. Gizbob immediately, like, whenever he entered the community like a debate prodigy, everyone started thinking that he was like one of the goats of debating. Look at him. Nobody sat down and taught Gizbob how to debate, right? So look, the best way to actually learn how to debate, right, and actually learn the fundamentals of just debating in general is just start off by discussing with people, start talking to other people about topics you're really interested in, right? Now, seeing as they are debates, nobody's going to take it as seriously. And because of the fact that nobody's going to take it as seriously, then you're also going to be able to build up experience and actually know, oh yeah, these are the counter arguments, these are the arguments for, these are the arguments against, right? These sort of low level understandings of the arguments that you're talking about, these low level understandings are basically just mock or folks debates, right? Where they aren't just like fully, they aren't actually fully invested. So again, your opponent is less likely to actually just sit there and immediately begin insulting you, immediately begin like start like immediately just begin start like yelling at you and like calling you an idiot. Instead, what they're more prone to do is they're more prone to actually talk it out with you. They're more prone to actually like, you know, make you able to understand where they're coming from, understand the arguments being given. So because of that, damn, right? But look, because of that, you notice that then, because these people are way more prone to, like actually making you improve and letting you learn, then you will notice that you begin to basically gain passive debate experience. Even look at text discussions, right? You notice you start learning more about a series, right? Just through discussing in text, right? Or even just simple reading, right? I don't know why people don't do this enough. Just simple reading. If you read way more than you do currently, you'll notice that you immediately begin to get way better. Everyone will notice that, oh yeah, this guy's becoming way more competent, right? Because again, you're reading this series, so you're building up knowledge, and you're also building a practical debate skill, right? And practical knowledge on the verse you're talking about. And by building up that practical knowledge and being able to understand the verse in a way which you wouldn't be able to do regularly, where your opponent is not going to be as honest with you, and your opponent is going to be way more prone to just insulting you and letting you make your errors on your own and not actually helping you out whenever you do make these errors. Whenever you engage in casual discussion, those are one of the best ways to build up debate experience. Now, most of the time people think that all of a sudden, oh wow, if I give them the secret debate holy grail, holy sauce, right, then they'll immediately begin to get better. And it's like, look, well, no, I can tell you the type of things you'd want to do if you wanted to get way better, but again, I can't sort of force you. I can't force you to get better if you don't want to, and I also can't force you to get better if you don't take my advice. So again, look, one of the most important things you want to do is, again, just read the series you're talking about. Now, people say that they don't like VC, so I saw somebody in H&H, right, Frosty server, I saw someone complaining that, oh, well, I'm not a native English speaker, so I don't want to join VC, because even though I can speak English, right, I just don't speak it well enough to be confident in being able to debate. It's like, look, you need to have confidence in yourself. Why are you ashamed of where you were born? Why are you ashamed of your inability to speak English as well as some other guys on Discord? It's like, look, your ability to speak English will improve as you speak to more people. Your ability to learn the language, you learn the language a lot faster. If not only are you typing, but you're also speaking a lot more. Like, practical speech is going to make you, or just speech in general is just going to make you a lot more, confident in your own voice. And not only is it going to give you way more confidence, but it's also going to make you more and more fluent the more you speak, right? Because again, stutters are the type of thing where you only work out of them by continuous speaking, by continuously trying to correct yourself, right? Trying to restart the sentence after you stutter. You can say sometimes it'll get you somewhere, but most of the time it's just you trying to basically I don't get it. It's like you're basically just self-insulting yourself for no reason. It's like, look, your fluency will only improve with experience. The same with your rhetoric. Now, I've seen people like Mono have this issue as well. So whenever they begin debating, they'll give the argument will be perfectly fine. It'll be perfectly sound, right? It isn't like what's it called? The stuff they're saying is like too outrageous, right? But it's because of the fact that they just get angry too easily. They decide to start yelling. They decide to just lose control of their temper. Then you notice that their argumentative quality takes a nosedive, right? Their knowledge takes, I don't know how that would even happen, but the things they know about suddenly would take a nosedive. You'll notice the more angry they get, the more dishonest they get, and with the more dishonesty they get, then you'll notice that they become a worse and worse debater, because they aren't actually focused on argumentatively overwhelming their opponents. Instead, what they are most focused on is just getting the win, and by getting the win, it gives them leverage to put themselves above their opponent. And then once they've gotten the win, they don't need anything else. So literally, their brains just turn off, and their brains automatically only focus on to debate mode, right? So I don't understand why people do that. Look, it's like if you let anyone on Discord, right, control you, right, and basically just make you angry at will, so the words they're saying have a complete control on every single on your mood, right? So if the words you're saying have complete control over their mood, then what makes them any different than your father or your girlfriend? Like, but why are you letting some random on Discord rile you up genuinely, instead of actually just like, yeah, you can pretend as if you're angry, like in the sense that, oh yeah, because you're pretending as if you're angry, then it makes, it makes the argument seem more absurd, right? I know that's the type of thing that someone like Aeroflame would do, where he'd pretend that he's angry even though he actually isn't really angry, so that it makes what he's saying just seem more convincing. And it's like, yeah, that's perfectly fine, but the way that most common new gen debaters do it is specifically in the sense where they'll do it specifically because they are actually enraged. Like yesterday, I saw Mono, no matter how funny it was, I saw Mono just absolutely lose the plot because of how angry he's gotten. And it's like, how are you letting somebody on Discord get you that angry, especially when it's somebody like Mock the Goat, bro? Be serious, right? It's like Mono was definitely winning on substance, but you notice that immediately he gets angry, he's like substance takes a nosedive, right? So even regardless of the fact that his decreased substance is able to overwhelm somebody like Mock, still it's just a bad performance. The second thing you want to do if you want to get way better really quickly is, why focus on who you're beating instead of focus on how you're performing? So again, I've seen people like, and this is like no offense to the person, but I've seen people like Hero, Hero tell me, oh yeah, I beat this guy, I beat that guy, I beat this guy, right? But you don't need to focus too much on the people who you are beating, because you notice that most of the time whenever people are saying, oh yeah, I beat this guy, I beat that guy, I beat this guy, it isn't that they're getting better more so, it's just the fact that they were already argumentatively superior to this other person. They just didn't debate the same verses as them, they didn't debate the same topics. So now that they do debate the same topics, now you're getting wins on a wider variety of people. But just because you're getting wins on a wider variety of people does not mean that you're getting better as a debater. It just means you're getting more versatile. Now you may say versatility actually plays a factor into how good of a debater you are. However, again, most of the time it isn't going to play as much of a factor. So look at Destiny. People have Destiny at the top of their tier list. Now count how many topics Destiny does in terms of politics, in terms of abortion ethics. Count that. Now compare it to the average current crosswords debater who debates literally anyone using any character, right? Again, Destiny is way less versatile, yet he's considered much better. So again, to say that versatility plays a huge factor into how good somebody is just completely false, unless they are beating high level people on a variety of topics, right? And it's like, then okay, if you're beating a wide level of people and these people are already, not only do they have like certain argumentative virtues so everyone can just agree that, oh yeah, this guy's a top tier, but also the way that they're doing it isn't just by beating them through like through ratting, through just like saying shit till they win the debate. It's literally just through to like actually overwhelming the opponent, and that's the type of thing where, okay, immediately somebody sees that, everyone will be able to agree that, oh yeah, this guy's really good, this guy's actually super competent, right? However, you'll notice that most of the time in terms of like in terms of these sorts of current debaters, instead of actually focusing on who they are beat, or instead of focusing on how they're performing, and even old gen debaters too, they usually be like, oh yeah, well, I beat this guy, I beat that guy, I beat this guy, look at my feats. It's like, okay, well, you did beat them, but you performed in such a way where it made you look like an idiot. So really, do you want to beat someone while sacrificing your own intelligence, or do you want to beat someone while also displaying that you're smarter than them? Those are the type of things that you need to be thinking about if you want to become better, right? Again, the reason why amp culture doesn't work as much is not only is it because of the fact that, again, relying and letting somebody else's teaching ability, determine how good of a debater you are isn't the type of thing that you want to be doing, right? So this the sort of thing where you need to take up your own sort of like path, your own sort of argumentative path. How do you argue best? Under what sort of situations do you argue best? Now, I know the sort of situations I thrive in. Now, usually, like if I'm debating some form of like fiction debate, I'd say I'll thrive better in in like VCs with huge amounts of people, and I also thrive better in VCs with huge amount of people whenever I'm debating philosophy as well. But again, even if it's a two-man call, and then there's also no like pressure of, oh yeah, the what does the audience think, da 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 da, right? There's no sort of pressure like that. Then I'd also thrive in those type of situations as well. But if you specifically think that, oh well, yeah, the sort of situations I thrive in specifically is situations where like where there's nobody else in call, right? It's just me and the other guy. So because it's just me and the other guy, I'm actually able to, get off my thoughts way better. I'm actually able to, display my argumentative ability in such a way in which like, everyone actually acknowledges the fact that I'm actually winning the debate. After winning the recording, and that's something like that is like completely fine. I don't get like it's this type of thing where it's like you shouldn't be shaming people for debating privately, right? It's like, yeah, you can debate privately only if you have a recording, because then it's like, what's the point of really gatekeeping your own debates and then expecting other people who have never seen you debate suddenly put you in tier one, and then it just creates this whole fraud culture, which is part of the reason why I always tell people, yeah, Arcano just isn't very good. It's because of the fact that, well, like, yeah, he's quite literally just keeping his own debates, like, be serious. And also the fact that he's just a loser, right? He just hangs out with Infinity, so like already he's a loser. But like, look, it's like it's kind of obvious. The third thing is like I say that a lot, but the third thing, if you want to get like way better, wait, did I miss the third star? Okay. But if you want to get way better again, argumentatively, that's the sort of thing you need to focus the most, or focus on the most. Your argumentation is like what makes or breaks you as a debater, right? So again, you need to understand how to properly form an argument. Now, I see Trini, he's being overly verbose, trying to explain the difference between soundness and validity again in his debate against Draco. Specifically, not because, oh, well, it's actually a topic that you need to be overly verbose about, right? Instead, they think the reason why he's being overly verbose is just to confuse his opponent and display, oh, this guy knows a lot about philosophy. But then if you compare to a community where, okay, yeah, well, even if everyone doesn't know a lot about philosophy, right, they know at least enough to tell you the difference between a sound and valid argument, then those sort of like argumentative theatrics don't really work anymore, right? So again, in Draco versus Trini case, now I'm going to sort of like, this is also sort of the reason why I also think Trini isn't as good as most people describe him to be, because again, in his debate against Draco, it was just a clear substantive loss on his part, right? So in his debate against Draco, he said something like, oh, well, and I think I laid this out in my other video asking like, oh, well, is Seth and Trini even good? And the sort of thing that people will say to me whenever I ask, okay, well, why are Seth and Trini really good? Instead of actually giving me a proper response, proper recording, sending me recordings, right? Instead of doing that, what they'd rather do is just say, haha, Seth and Trini slammed the community, right? And just like, it's the sort of thing where, okay, well, there's no real argument to be had here. Clearly, you don't have any evidence, and even if you did have evidence, it's not like you're willing to provide it anywhere, right? Instead, what they're more willing to do is just say, oh yeah, this guy is really good at debating. But whenever asked for a reason why, it's the sort of thing that they flounder about, right? So again, like, I don't know. It's like some of these guys who people say are really impressive, I just don't find them as impressive. But back onto how to get better, like, typically, whenever you ask people to how to get better, at least you have a vague idea. It's like, if you don't even have a vague idea on what you need to improve to get better, then you can't get better, right? For you to actually know what you need to improve at, you need to debate first. You need to discuss with people first, right? Don't come to me and ask me, or ask anyone really, oh, how do I get better? If you haven't debated anyone, right? Now, again, look, if you debate in text, like, ask somebody else. I'm not gonna help you, alright? Ask somebody else, specifically because of the fact that I don't have the time to sit down and read text paragraphs back and forth, and there's also no real rhetoric involved, right? So I feel as if, like, whenever you're arguing with somebody in text, is the sort of thing where I can't even consider that type of thing a debate, right? I can't even consider that type of thing a debate, not just because of the fact that it has like no rhetoric, because again, I think you can be debating somebody in a VC and also not have any sort of intention of convincing the crowd, right? But I think in text debates more specifically, nobody really takes them serious. So because of the fact nobody really takes them serious, then like I also have that same feeling as well. I also don't take text debates seriously. So again, whenever you select people arguing text, I'd say the only thing you're arguing in text is good for is just it improves your ability to, let's say, like make arguments. You aren't really on a sort of time limit, in the sense of nobody's going to penalize you or punish you for not being able to give an instant response because you're in text. There's no real like time threshold. Instead, the only threshold is, oh well, are you actually responding? Like you shouldn't have a hard time tracking in text. Most of the time text discussions or text debates are typically entirely contingent on your knowledge, right, and how much you know. So again, talking to people in text is a good way to improve, a good way to just test your knowledge in general, right? However, if you are entering VC with somebody, then like the sort of stakes become way different, right? Again, because not only is it because of the fact that you're actually speaking to another human being now, right? So because of the fact that you're actually speaking to another human being now, you actually feel the sort of similar feeling as to whenever you're speaking to somebody in real life. The only distinction would be, well, you aren't really looking them in the eyes, and it's like, okay, yeah, well, looking somebody in the eyes would make you a lot more nervous, like you make you a lot more nervous, which is why, like, obviously you have to give props where props are due to these sorts of like people who debate. People who debate face to face, like obviously you're going to be more nervous. Now again, people on Discord who would be like using their hood rhetoric would be like, oh my goodness, well, I would be nervous, haha, I have the strap on me. It's like, okay, be serious. How are you going to complain about having a strap on you and then complain about your brother or your like somebody close to you getting like shot or something? It's like, dude, you're complaining about situations which you also put other people into. But like, look, another thing I want to segue into, and this video isn't kind of like formatted to a specific topic, it's just me talking about what comes off of the top of my head. But look, like another thing is that I don't understand why people really do this hood rhetoric, right? And I say hood rhetoric really like, oh, like, well, I'm not trying to be, sort of discriminatory, but I also am. So like when I say hood rhetoric, what I mean is these guys who are overtly swearing, they're overtly trying to posture. They're just trying to posture, yell at their opponents and try and make themselves look way more convincing than usual. And because of the fact that they're trying to make themselves look way more convincing than they actually are, you notice that they're like, haha, you're a bitch, ha 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 ha. Oh yeah, I'll slap you in real life, haha. Like, dude, you're sitting there behind the screen arguing with somebody on Discord, right? So again, you can't call somebody else a nerd. Look, being a nerd isn't a bad thing, right? Like, okay, people like what they want. You can say, oh yeah, well, haha, well, you're a geek, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, you are also on the app arguing with this other person. So really, like, even if you do make money outside of the app, right? That's completely fine, like that's good on you. Haha, you make money outside of the app. But still, it's like, what's it called? You're still on the app, right? So again, you're still a nerd in your own right. Because think about it, these other guys. Like, imagine, do these other people who you hang out with, who you don't consider to be nerds, right? Do they know you use Discord? How would they look at you if they figured out you use Discord? Like, be serious. Now, I know it's different for a dead boy type, where like dead boy's literally gotten his friend on call whenever he was debating me, right? And he was like started asking his friend questions about LeBron. It's like really weird, but I'm actually, no, it's not even that weird. It's like, look, he can do what he wants, right? He's a grown man, right? But look, it's like really calling other people nerd culture on Discord needs to die, bro. It's like somebody hopping on Reddit then calling another Reddit user weird, and it's like, dude, that's like the pot calling the kettle black. Like, oh, what in the world? Well, I don't understand how the thought process that's going on there. It's like, okay, yes, okay, maybe one can grant that he's more nerdy than you, but really, you're both in the same boat. You're both like drowning in the same pool. He's just like deeper into the water than you are, right? So really, if you want to call other people nerdy, that's the type of thing you'd have to be on Instagram, right? On Instagram calling people on Discord nerdy. But then it's like, well, if you're on Instagram calling people on Discord nerdy, right, then that means you're thinking about people on Discord even while off the app. So really, have you really left Discord, right? if you get what I mean. But also those types where they're like, oh yeah, I'm leaving the app, then they come back again, and they come back to just see, oh my god, how are these people doing? Are these nerdy people still on the app? It's like, okay, well, what would happen if nobody was on the app? Haha. Okay, now what? So you downloaded the app again just to see nobody, not text anybody. It's like, dude, like, be serious. And it's also the type of thing where you're clowning somebody for using social media. It's like kind of weird. But yeah, look, we need to just, like, as a community, abolish hood rhetoric, right? Specifically because, again, think about it. The reason why fiction debates, the reason why debating in general just isn't taken seriously is because of the fact that you cursing out somebody else's family over Discord, right? Especially over an argument that's, like, really petty. So, like, take whether or not Johan is the strongest in lookism, or take whether or not, like, whether or not a priori knowledge is actually usable or actually exists, something like that. There's somebody in my philosophy class said it doesn't. I was like, okay, man. And it's like, literally, it's like, why are you arguing? Why are you calling somebody an idiot, dickhead, retard? Like, why are you calling or saying all of these type of things to somebody because of a Discord debate? And it's like, look, okay, I get being heated, right? Because I'm not even gonna lie, I might be being a little hypocritical because I might be one of the people who does it the most. But still, it's like, you need to, like, in my debates, if I'm actually trying to engage with somebody, I don't think, and somebody can, like, let me know if I'm wrong, I don't think I'm going around swearing and cussing their whole entire family up and down, right? Usually it's just like, it's just once or twice, man. I'm not. Okay, that game is just okay, but it's just once or twice. I think, like, maybe here and there you can, like, insult somebody, fine. But again, I don't think that's, like, rhetoric. It's like, whenever you insult somebody and say, oh, ha, well, he's throwing rhetorical jabs. It's like, well, no, he isn't actually throwing rhetorical jabs. Instead, what he's doing is he's just insulting people because his vocabulary is so limited. You notice that the only 3 insults that he cycles between is just haha, B word, haha, C word, haha, what's it called? Your mom. It's like, really? You're grown now. Like, we're grown. Well, no, we're not grown. I'm 16. I don't know who's grown. But look, it's like, why are you sitting on Discord being like, haha, your mom to somebody else on Discord? Like, and I saw Trini doing this, and it's like, dude, you're not funny, blood. Like, Jesus, you're not funny. Stop talking. Like, I don't. Wow, the voice crack there. But it's like, I don't know how people consider that type of thing rhetoric in the past. It's like, maybe I genuinely want to sit down people from the old community and see what do they actually think is rhetoric. Why did they think Ero was more convincing than everyone else in his time? Well, like, what does Ero do that Valor doesn't do? Because I personally think Valor has better rhetoric, right? I think Valor is way more concise, he's way more succinct, he's way more clear with his arguments. Whereas on the other hand, all Ero really has on it going for him is aggression. And it's like, okay, well, aggression can only get you so far, especially when then your opponent just does what you never want to do. Like, that's also part of the reason you never see someone like an Archie type, you never see you never see an Archie type, you never see an Infinity type actually use moderation properly. So instead, most of the time what you see them doing is like, haha, yeah, let's have moderation, and then use the moderation as an excuse to, like, yell and filibuster, right? And it's like, yeah, obviously, that's an improper usage of a moderator. This guy just greedy. Okay, but that's obviously an improper use of a moderator. So it's like, in typical usages of moderators, you notice that these guys, they never pop up. They never actually use it properly. So yeah. That's it for the video. I'm not even gonna lie. This has been Shinra. Like the video, like and subscribe, and I'm out.